read a lot of books. My parents had me, they had me reading, just as soon as I could, physically read as a small child, I started reading books, and I fell in love with books. And we had no TV for a long time when I was a kid growing up. So, if we wanted to my sister and I wanted to entertain ourselves, besides, just playing with each other, it had to be books. I loved reading so much that the natural progression was to start writing. And so as a kid, I'm probably 8 or 9 or 10 years old. I'm writing these intricate, to me, of course, I mean, to adults it's probably laughable, but to me, I was writing these intricate adventures, and I kind of started writing adventures, and then I'd start writing about school, and then I started writing about adventures and sci-fi kind of stuff, and eventually I worked into mystery novels, and so I've been writing since I was about 9 years old. It all started. It's actually had a couple of different lives. It started, 10 years ago or 8 years ago, whatever that was, in Woodinville, when we were living there, and I was taking Zach. At that time, my son Zachary was into every sport that he could possibly fit into his schedule. He played baseball and basketball and football. And, besides the actual games that we would have to go to for these various sports, there were all the practices that were involved. But one day I'm sitting in the stands, and I've already worked in the publishing industry now for probably, at this point, I probably worked in the industry for 10 years. And I came in on the sales side in publishing. So I was actually out there finding sponsors and advertisers and, selling advertising to various newspapers and magazines. And I'm sitting in the stands one day watching Zach's baseball practice, and I thought, geez, I should make money while I'm sitting here. I spend so much time at these youth sports events. And an idea came to my head almost right then, literally. I had this idea that wouldn't it be cool if there was a magazine that treated youth athletes, local youth athletes, the way that Sports Illustrated treats professional athletes. They do these in-depth feature stories, profiles. They really tell a story in their magazine about these professional athletes. And I thought, my goodness, it would be really kind of cool to read a local magazine about the kids that are playing sports. So I took some time and I started thinking about what we call it, and it was going to be all about the East Side. And so we called it Team Magazine originally, and it was the East Side Athletic Magazine, TEAM. That was what it stood for. We decided, I met this gal, Jan Denman, who was very well connected in youth health and fitness world in Greater Seattle. Everybody knows Jan Denman. She's been in the industry for 25 years, and she's got so many strong connections. And I happened to get to know her because she was doing some writing for the original Team magazine. She pitched me on the idea of making a focal point all about youth health and fitness. She said it was a very vital thing in the world right now, diabetes and obesity amongst kids, and with all the television and electronics, and kids were just getting fat, and it was getting really bad out there. And she convinced me that there was a real strong market for a magazine that would be geared more towards youth and fitness. So we decided to launch Team Fit. We kept the brand Team, but we decided to do a fitness magazine. I like writing. I prefer to be writing creative writing. I'd be preferring to write that great mystery novel or that great youth sci-fi story that I have percolating in my head. But there just isn't time right now to be spending a lot of time on the hobby side of writing. But there's plenty of time to fulfill sort of my creative needs by writing for my own magazine. So that's what I do. Young people that want to get into this industry, with all the different online stuff that are out there now, all the blogs and all the online websites and the magazines and the digital stuff that's coming down the pipe, there's more opportunities now for writers than there has been in a long, long time. There's just more things that they can write for. there's less things like the New York Times, and the Wall Street Journal kind of writing. That kind of writing there's less of those jobs available. Print is dying, but online is thriving. Magazines 5 years from now, you're going to have your iPad, and everything you read is going to be on your iPad. And the different types of stuff that they're coming up with now to put on those types of systems, it's just amazing. But guess what? They're all going to need writers.
Mm-hmm.
So there's more now than there's ever been. So I'd love to be a kid coming out of journalism class or English with an English major, with a theme in writing, because sky's going to be the limit. And, the beauty of it, too, is going to be that you're going to be able to be, you're going to be able to be working for a company in Boston, living in San Francisco, or living in L.A., or living in Seattle,
right.
because that's not going to matter anymore.